Welcome to the Philantrepreneur Show, hosted by Dr. Victoria Boyd, designed to offer tips, strategies, and insights to empower nonprofits and entrepreneurs with sustainable win-win solutions. The Philantrepreneur Show is sponsored by the Philantrepreneur Foundation, building capacity through education and professional services.
Good morning. This is Dr. Victoria Boyd, President and founder of the Philantrepreneur and its foundation and editor of the Philantrepreneur Journal, and my great co-host, Heidi Anderson, founder of the Foundation to Foster Empowerment and Credit Cares, and president of Electronic Commerce International. As always, we are thrilled to bring tips, strategies, and insight for business and nonprofit sectors. You know, Heidi, I don't know about you, but this year has started extremely busy and promising. So tell me what's going on in your world.
Oh, yeah, I agree. This year has started off really just amazing. It's just on a really positive note. It seems like I'm getting that from a lot of people. Just been really hearing really great positive things going on. So it's a great way to start out. And our business, Electronic Commerce International, we it's like you work on relationships, business relationships, and they just like something never seems to happen. All of a sudden, here's like 3 or 4 years later, they come out of the woodworks and they're really ready to bring a bunch of business to us, and that's really exciting. And of course, the Foundation to Foster Empowerment is gaining support, and I am so excited to announce I'm going to be representing the foundation on Rhonda Towns' Plenty More Love radio show. It's on Faith Talk. It's 1360 KPXQ AM. She's here in Phoenix, but it's on AM, and it's also on the internet. And this is going to be in February, but I'm going to be on with Jimmy Wayne. And for those of you who don't know who Jimmy Wayne is, he is a former foster child turned country music star, author, and huge child advocate. He's performed on stages with Brad Paisley, and he wrote the book recently, and which I've read cover to cover, and just it's heart-wrenching and just very eye-opening. But it's called Walk to Beautiful, and it's really about his whole true life story of growing up in just very, very challenged circumstances, in and out of the system, in and out of all kinds of stuff, and how it was really just the love of an older couple that took him in as a teenager completely transformed his life, and now he's an amazing man. I just have him on this huge high pedestal, and so he's living the happy ending of his book, and he travels around performing concerts in support of the CASA program and advocating for youth. I got to go to one of his concerts here in Phoenix last fall, and I really wanted to meet him, and I was kind of like, I've got to meet him. I really want him to be a part of the Foundation to Foster Empowerment. And long story short, I ended up meeting somebody who got me on this radio show with Rhonda Towns, and I asked her, when she was talking to me about being on the show, I said, "Do you happen to know Jimmy Wayne?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know him personally, but I think my publicist knows him because she's in Nashville." And so next thing I know, they're telling me, "Hey, can you be on the show? We're recording it February 12th, and I've booked Jimmy Wayne for the same day." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" It's amazing. He puts something out into the universe. It's like, I really want to meet this man. I want him to be a part of this. And so far, it's baby steps. It's a start, but hopefully something great will come of it. And I don't know, can you tell I'm a little bit excited?
Yeah.
Anyway, just a little bit. So anyway, so back to business, and a topic relevant to everyone in business and philanthropy: social media. So, Victoria, so yesterday you had your third Tuesday training launched on strategic thinking, and you had a great turnout and great content, right? So,
absolutely.
I'm really excited for you. That's really a great benefit to the people who are on your team. So one of our goals here at the Philantrepreneur is to provide quality education and professional services. Today's topic is extremely important and needed by everyone that uses any of the social media platforms for business or on a personal level. Even though at least me, felt social media was an organic entity. And what I mean by that, the content is supplied and controlled by the users. Its growth and sustaining future have made it necessary to monitor and control many facets of it. I assume most have heard of social media etiquette, but taking it a little bit further today, we will actually discuss some legal compliance issues there are actually with the providers of information and those that use, sort of setting their own rules, it has evolved so that now to be effective and compliant. Anyway, so Victoria, please introduce our guest for today.
Absolutely. I've met Debbie here probably over a year ago, but she is the president of DoWeComply.com. It's a performance intermedia LLC company, and she has a master's degree in social media compliance. And I said that slow because there's not many people out there that have that. And the law from, I should say social media compliance and the law, from Regis University, which is notable because she obtained it after personally assembling a unique program of study and got approval for a degree path that was not offered. And graduating summa cum laude, she has written articles for Nevada Lawyer and the Philantrepreneur Journal on topics such as attorneys and best practices for Facebook and other pertinent social media marketing tips. Her company, Performance Intermedia LLC, offers LinkedIn profile optimization and social media strategic consulting, training, posting, and advertising for nonprofits and for-profit organizations. Welcome, Debbie. I was fascinated when I read you created your own curriculum. Please tell our listeners more about you, where you hail from, and how you got on the journey to where you are today.
Well, thank you, Victoria and Heidi. I'm very happy to be here this morning, and forgive my little desert throat here. One thing I want to say before we go any further is that I am not an attorney. So anything that we discuss, I always recommend that my clients check over with an attorney after we go through what we go through. I'm originally a New Yorker, lived in New York, grew up in Brooklyn, lived in Manhattan, lived in L.A. for a while when I was much younger, and then moved and spent 22 years and raised my son in Glastonbury, Connecticut, which is a beautiful river town about 8 miles southeast of Hartford. I've always been in some form of marketing, relationship building, training. I was in the insurance industry for a long time. I was a financial planner in Connecticut for a while. So I've always been a learner, too, in Series 7, Series 60. I mean, you name it, I was always studying something. I had my CLU when I was in the insurance business, and I always liked helping people learn something, whether it was teaching stockbrokers how to sell insurance or whether when I came here it was working with real estate agents when social media was just starting to become really important. I came to Vegas in September of 2006, and as I worked with a real estate company as their marketing director, this was really starting to be cutting edge. And the real estate industry was one of the first industries that recognized the importance of reaching people through social media. So that's kind of how it started. And then I went from there to be a social media director for another real estate brokerage, working one-on-one with the agents, really getting down and working with them to understand how you use this vehicle. And from there, I started doing some consulting, and Performance Intermedia was born. About 2 years ago, I realized that all of this was causing all kinds of chaos for companies. And I also started spending a lot of time looking into cyberbullying and things like that, and Do We Comply was born. And Do We Comply was really put up as a website for information. So it was articles that I had written, and it was other articles involving compliance as well as how to use social media and things like that. And actually it's going through another evolution now as the website is being updated and changed, and it will look very different sometime in the next 30 days. So that's me. I'm a huge lover of social media. I think it is absolutely the way the world will be able to communicate. You can communicate with anyone, anywhere, anytime, in an instant, but you want to make sure that you do it in an appropriate fashion.
Yeah, social media, it really it's invaded all of our business and personal lives. And, for the majority of the population, it's become an important, and some people, probably about the only way they communicate, especially the younger people, and do business and really, as you said, share a global audience and be able to communicate with people worldwide, whether intended or not, So why is it important for a business, nonprofits included, to effectively utilize social media? But I think it'll go one step even further back. Why must they use social media in the first place?
Well, I think as Heidi pointed out, you can't get away from it. 3, 4, 5 years ago when I would talk to businesses, they'd say, oh, this is going to disappear. It's a fad. I'm not going to spend any time on it. And now those same people are coming back to me and saying, okay, I surrender. Obviously, this isn't going anywhere. And it's not. It will evolve and it will change. But in order to reach mass amount of people, or even sometimes just the people that are next door, you've got to have a presence on the social media platforms. Now, which platforms you use can depend a lot on what your business is. For nonprofits, it's extremely important for awareness because there is competition out there, and you want the community to know what you're doing, and you want the community to be involved. Same thing with for-profit businesses. Depending on what you're doing, different platforms will serve you better. But you have to be there because people are looking for you there. And this is something I say all the time. If you're there but you're not using it, then don't be there. Because when you go to a company that has, let's just use it as an example, a page on Facebook or a Twitter profile, and you see that nothing's been posted in 6 months, or that things have been posted and not responded to, or you look down and you see, wow, they put a post up about once every 3 months. It gives more of a negative impression than a positive impression. So it's not just a matter of being on the platform and the appropriate platform. It's also about using it appropriately and using it consistently. So pretty much now you can't get away from it. It won't stand on its own. It's not magic. You have to coordinate it with email marketing. You have to coordinate it with face-to-face if you're doing face-to-face marketing. If you're doing print marketing, coordinating your social media will increase the effectiveness of your print advertising tremendously. So again, everything needs to be coordinated. It's not something that will stand on its own, but it is extremely important.
Absolutely. But those sound, it sounds like almost a bullet list of best practices that you were mentioning. So is there, just the top 5 best practices that you could identify?
Are you going to count for me?
Probably more. Okay, but just give us a list. What are your best practices?
The first thing would be to be there looking professional. By that I mean whatever the platform is, don't just throw up a picture that's crooked, that doesn't fit in the size dimensions of the particular platform, and that doesn't enhance what your marketing or your branding. So you have to have something that looks professional. Number 2, and a lot of businesses make the mistake on this on Facebook, the little profile picture on the business page, you must have the name of the company in there. Unless you're Nike, no one is going to know what your logo stands for. And when you see that thumbnail on Facebook, it is minuscule on the news feed. Okay? You have to post consistently. Now, you don't have to post every day, and you certainly don't need to post 3 or 4 times a day. And again, it's hard because we're using Facebook as an example. I would say on Twitter, and again, Twitter has a very, very important role depending on what you're doing and who you are. You might do that more than once a day. If you're on LinkedIn, which for every professional is essential, and most professionals have terrible profiles on LinkedIn, they don't realize when somebody Googles them, their LinkedIn profile pops right up, and it doesn't do them any service. You have to think of that as your bio or your online resume, and that is where people go to check. And if they don't go there, they go to Google, and it comes up anyway. So on LinkedIn, I would say, you need to have a professional-looking page. That profile picture on Facebook very important to have your branding, your name in there. You want to post consistently, and again, that depends on the particular platform. Again, if you're doing visual arts, it might be Pinterest, Instagram. So it depends on the platform. You want to make sure that you respond to things that are posted up there that are questions to you or comments regarding the company. Most of them will be very positive. But again, if there's a negative comment up there, you want to make sure that you respond. You want to make sure you respond to everything that a potential customer or customer may say. And then 5, and this is for companies that want to get their employees involved, and this can be very important for nonprofits as well. You want to make sure that people are trained to understand what's appropriate and what's not appropriate if they're going to be using the business page and if they're going to be talking about the company on their personal pages, which is a great way of getting the message out. And when it comes to employees, that's where some of this best practices and compliance comes into play.
Absolutely.
So, well, what are some of the pitfalls or bad things that can happen if best practices aren't used?
Well, and here's where attorneys are really becoming educated, and the laws are looking at these things. The National Labor Relations Board is looking at these. But let's just take a silly example. I talk to companies, perhaps not silly, but I talk to companies all the time about an open door policy, a true open door policy. We've all heard that expression before. But what happens now is you don't just have the water cooler and the lunchroom. I know I'm dating myself, but news is traveling. So if you have a company with employees and there seems to be an issue, and it's a real issue, perhaps the place isn't as clean, perhaps there are insects, perhaps in the summer, in the desert, it's too hot, too cold, whatever. There's some issue that affects the actual work environment, or there's some other undercurrent going on with unfairness over salaries, vacation, anything at all like that. If an employee understands that their opinion and what they have to say is going to be respected, now look, you can't solve every problem and you can't make everybody happy all the time, but if it's legitimate and they know that they can go to management, sit down and have a conversation, and that management will take that seriously and respect their input, and that something will be addressed if needed, that alleviates that same employee having that same discussion on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, throwing pictures on Instagram, or it doesn't matter, actually. And what you want to avoid there is the ability of an employee to speak to other employees about significant issues and real issues that are now going out to the public, that are now going out to all of their friends and however they have their page. Some people still have their Facebook pages set to public, to everyone, because they don't realize it. So now you have a situation where you're furious because now you're getting some feedback, or someone tells you, hey, did you see what Sally put on Facebook and Jim? And did you see what's going on Sally's page? Well, there's really nothing you can do about it. If it's legitimate work involved issues. You still can't break federal law. You can't harass people. You can't threaten people. But this is where I encourage people to have a very strong social media policy reviewed by an attorney. Absolutely, positively, because the laws are changing all the time, and to communicate that social media policy. But more importantly, to have an environment, to have a culture where people feel that they can express their concerns and that something will be done about it, because now it will no longer be kept secret if someone goes out and takes that to social media. And the National Labor Relations Board, in most cases, is in favor of the employee, because in most cases that speech is protected by our labor law. It comes from our original laws allowing people to assembly and to unionize, Section 7. So, again, I encourage everybody. It's great to get your employees involved in your social media because they're going to spread the word. Training is extremely important, and having a true culture where people feel respected and feel like they can bring an issue to management is extremely important in an era where, in an instant, that can go out to who knows how many people.
Wow. Really is so much to think about. And as I said, like in this world, everything's so instantaneous. And once it's out there, you really even can't take it back. I mean, right. You can delete it from there, but it's out there. So, really great information. Yeah.
You can't delete it either because this is on your employee's personal page.
Yeah, but even if you ask them to delete, I'm just saying that they may have already shared it, and
Exactly. And the other thing is we tell people, be careful what you post up, and I agree. I mean, think before you hit that button. Think about whether you want something to be up there. Think about the ramifications. Mm-hmm. One major other pitfall, since you asked me, is discussing anything that is overly controversial, political. Mm-hmm. We've all heard the expression, don't discuss religion and politics with friends. We don't discuss religion and politics at our Rotary meetings, but for some reason people get in front of that computer and they're on a soapbox, and that's cool. but as I tell all my clients, understand, if you are going to get up there and do whatever you're going to do about politics, about the president, about whatever, you are probably going to piss off 50% of your potential customers. I mean,
and be prepared for the comments and the lashback and the
It is absolutely suicide to do that. Now, there are certain things that are not suicide. For instance, we have the Super Bowl coming up. I'm a huge sports fan. We have obviously a lot of sports fans. Now, if you're posting up about your team and somebody is another team, they're not going to not do business with you because you like a different sports team. But if you're spouting all kinds of stuff up there about politics and certain issues and certainly religion, they're not going to do business with you. And I haven't
using the thing like, if you wouldn't discuss it at the dinner table or at a dinner party, then don't put it on social media.
And it's true, but it goes even further than that. I do a lot of LinkedIn profile optimization with my clients, and every single one of them has then come back to me and told them it's helped them on LinkedIn, either with a strategic partner or a client or something. So I was sitting with a client one day, a financial planner, and this particular person has been a member of the NRA for 20, 25 years. And he looked at me, and he said, do I put that on there? And I said, I don't know. I mean, frankly, I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about publicizing that, knowing that there are people out there that might say, oh, no. But there are other people out there who will say, you know what, that's the guy I want to do my retirement because he thinks like me. So you have to think about it. When I sit and do the charitable side and the organization side of LinkedIn, many people ask, well, do I put Catholic Charities up there or the Jewish Federation? That's up to you. You understand what you're putting up. And in my opinion, if you're doing charitable work, it doesn't matter one way or the other. I don't think they're that particular. But again, people are sensitive to these issues, and it makes me happy to know that they're thinking about what happens once it's up there. Do I want this up there? Do I want this to be public? So, again, when you're putting those profiles together, thinking about that, and then, of course, when you're posting. I mean, this morning's probably a perfect example. I haven't gone on Facebook yet. I was working. But after the State of the Union, I could only imagine what's going on Facebook this morning or Twitter. So the thing is, again, if I see that from a business or a consultant, I'm going to just sit there and go, why in the world are they spouting off this kind of stuff? There are going to be so many people that disagree. And when you start touching people's religion, politics, and certain social issues, you're never going to get that person as a customer. Never.
Absolutely. Okay, well, as we have to cut to a quick commercial break here, and then we'll have more from Jean right after this.
Oh, Debbie, my mistake. Okay.
Hey, are you a small business owner like me? who wants to make a charitable contribution and needs easy access to charitable giving sources that you can automate for your business for free, then I invite you to visit www.credit-cares.com. They have charitable giving options using their innovative merchant platform that helps nonprofits raise money and helps merchants make contributions at no additional cost to them using the products and services of Electronic Commerce International. Our giving options are easy to set up for small business. So if you have a business entity, we can donate in your business name. Go to www.credit-cares.com and see how you can make a difference every day by doing what you already do. Go to www.credit-cares.com and fill out the form or call 855-782-2737 for more information on how your business can be a difference maker in your community.
Okay, we're back from that commercial break, and it's now the Philantrepreneur Show Tip time. We're talking about social media today, and unfortunately, in my work, I come across many nonprofits and entrepreneurs that still, really haven't embraced and started to use social media as a valuable and viable means of communication and marketing. So I have 5 facts or tips that were presented by Connie Auerbach Law Offices on social media. Number 1, LinkedIn will continue to be important for business-to-business networking and growth. 2, depending on your business, image-centric networks are rapidly becoming a viable form of marketing. Number 3, don't ignore Google+. Number 4, invest your marketing dollars in social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Number 5, micro videos and YouTube are the future. And it sort of plays into what Debbie was talking earlier. If you're visual, you need to be seen, and these are some great tips and I think really tied into what she was saying. We're going to take another quick commercial break and be right back with Debbie
The
Harris.
Philantrepreneur is dedicated to your success. Visit thephilantrepreneur.com to find and explore a wide range of services and resources. Register and receive benefits such as training, early bird discounts, and the Philantrepreneur Journal, a nationally distributed bi-monthly digital publication serving everything Philantrepreneur, filled with tips, strategies, and resources to support your goals. Need more marketing exposure and have community impact? The Philantrepreneur is proud to offer Ads for a Cause, where 10% of your marketing purchase goes directly to charity. Contact us today to place your ad. Increase your reach in a professional digital publication or radio spot. It's a great marketing tool to send, post, or share in a variety of formats. Deadlines are on a rolling basis, so don't miss being included in the next publication. Visit thephilantrepreneur.com and click the Journal Marketing Ads tab today. Mention this show and get a 10% discount. www.thephilantrepreneur.com.
Okay, welcome back as we continue our conversation on social media with our guest today, Debbie Harris, president of DoWeComply.com. Okay, so we're active on social media, postings of interest to us and our business, and I read a commentary on Facebook just recently indicating someone had tried to report a picture that someone else had posted on their personal page, and it was about an atrocity, sort of graphic, but the poster was pleased because Facebook had refused to remove it, and so it was their own personal commentary. So there are many vehicles of communication, how individuals, nonprofits, businesses, anyone, how can we protect ourselves from negative comments?
Well, first of all, let me address the comment you just made. If that showed up on the person's own profile page, then they need to check their settings because you can stop anyone from posting on your personal page by setting up your settings to allow you to have an alert and you decide what goes on your page. If it was on the news feed, all you have to do is click down that little top right corner and say, hide this, or I don't want to see this. So what you may think shouldn't be there, now obviously Facebook has certain rules, but forgetting about that, If you're seeing something on the news feed you don't want to see, you can click up and hide it. You can disconnect with that person. If it's showing up,
starting to break up. Yeah, your voice is starting to break up.
Is that better? Huh.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you are seeing it on your profile, if they have tagged you and posted it on your profile, you can change your settings. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands you don't have to see things on Facebook you don't want to see, and you certainly can stop people from posting on your timeline, but you need to go into your privacy settings. So I guess the main thing with negativity is you've got to set up Google Alerts. Google Alerts are free. You can set up as many as you want. So you simply go to Google Alerts, put in a phrase, put in a name, so the name of the company, perhaps the name of the CEO, or if it's a consultant, the name of the business owner. Google will bring you back any information that shows up on the web. Now, that's also good for finding out about what your competition is doing, for finding subject matter for blogs, subject matter for posting, because we want to share what other people have written too. If you see a great article about your industry and that person isn't, halfway across the country from you, or even in the next state, they're not a competitor, go ahead and post it. Give them credit and go ahead and post it, and always put a comment. So Google Alerts, number one thing to find out what's going on the web. And then, of course, most comments are positive. If you get a negative comment, one of the most important things is to address it immediately. And this is the other issue. If you have social media, you have to look at it. You have to have it set up so that you'll know what's going on. I personally don't use a platform like Hootsuite. I prefer to go to each network individually. If you use a platform, please understand, don't post the exact same thing on every platform. That Facebook is different than LinkedIn. LinkedIn is different than Twitter. Instagram is obviously a photograph. Pinterest is very visual. You can use a platform, but don't post the same thing on every platform across the board. And make sure that you're watching it, and make sure that you're responding, whether it's positive or negative. I can tell you that companies have gone to the other extreme. Now, what they're doing is they're not responding to emails. They drive you crazy when you call up on the phone. So I've had two instances in the last 2 years where I had a legitimate complaint with large companies. And the only way that I could get satisfaction was by going to their Facebook page. So I thought to myself, now isn't this ridiculous? I've contacted them by phone. I have emailed them. I get no place. They would prefer that I go public. Because remember, pages are public, and these were well-known companies. So they would prefer that I go public on the Facebook page. And now all these other people are chiming in on my comment, and now I get results. There's something wrong with that picture. So don't go to the other extreme where you're forgetting to respond to your customers, your clients, through other channels as well. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But good customer service means that you're responding to things on whether it's Twitter or Facebook or wherever somebody is reaching out to you. Most of the time it will be positive. Don't delete a negative comment, because even if it's been up there for 30 seconds, somebody's probably seen it. The best thing you can do is respond to it in an appropriate manner, such as, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We would be happy to discuss this further. Would you please email us at, or would you please call us at? Take it offline, especially if somebody's arguing about money or charges or something like that. Take it offline, but always respond to the comment. The only time you would actually, and this goes for reviews also, not just postings on social media, the only time you would delete a negative comment is if it's completely ridiculous. If it's spam, if somebody is using a lot of profanity, which, by the way, you can stop on your page, check your profanity thing on your settings on your business page, your profanity blocker. But that's ridiculous. If somebody's just going off the wall, okay. But if somebody has a legitimate concern, and maybe they're pissed, but you've got to respond to that. And then you want to offer to take it offline. It is extremely important. And in some cases, I recommend that the CEO or somebody higher up in the company respond to it as themselves, not as the company page, so that they say, wow, they really took my comment seriously. Very, very important.
Wow, yeah. You never think about just leaving the negative up there, and responding so you can actually tell your side of the story almost. I love that tip. And it's
a negative comment, absolutely. A negative comment can be your best PR. If you handle that negative comment appropriately, it can be your absolute best public relations. Because everybody who sees that communication is going to say, wow, look at that company. Look how they responded. It doesn't matter what ends up happening, by the way. It's just that you respond. Now, if you offer to take it offline and the person, doesn't do it, so be it. But, the point is that you have not ignored a concern of a customer, a potential customer, whatever the person is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like you answered our next question.
Yeah.
So why don't we just jump into, so if you had to list the top 3 things people should watch out or do, what are they?
Well, first of all, look professional. That's number 1. And as I said, respond to comments, as we just discussed. Very, very important, positive or negative, even if it's just a thank you, we appreciate it. Respond to comments. And the third most important thing is stay away from controversial issues. And I'm going to put a caveat on that. I said when it comes to your business, even on your personal pages, be careful what you are saying. If your personal pages, and remember, Twitter is a pretty public platform. So is LinkedIn, because people are connected to people who are connected. And on Facebook, unless your Facebook profile page is limited, highly limited, be careful what you say even on your personal pages. Because, again, you're going to create a situation where people are uncomfortable. Stay away from those topics. And as I said, if we went on there this morning, I'm sure we'd see exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. Well, Debbie, this has been great, and I really, really appreciate your being on the show today. And I know there's going to be people listening who want to get in touch with you and maybe use your services or ask you some questions. What's the best way to contact you?
My email is Debbie, DEBBIE, at dowecomply.com, DOWECOMPLY.com, Debbie at dowecomply.com, or anybody can call me on my cell, 702-465-4082. That's 702-465-4082.
Wow. A lot of information here, and thanks, Debbie, so much for this great interview. Listeners, remember, if you are searching resources such as books on nonprofit management, visit the bookstore at www.thephilantrepreneur.com. A portion of every purchase is donated to the Philantrepreneur Foundation. Also, are you a philantrepreneur with a story to tell? Do you have tips, strategies, or insight for today's entrepreneurs and nonprofits? Then you need to be a guest on our show, too. Again, everything can be found on our website. Just look for the radio show tab and submit the guest inquiry form. Also, enjoy the archives of past shows, and even this show will be up there shortly. Some guests coming up on in the future on March 4th. I'm really excited about this. We're going to be interviewing Michael Drew, author of Pendulum. And next time, February 4th, we will welcome Albert Delgado of Prestamos CDFI with great information on nonprofits, on a nonprofit that supports business and nonprofit growth through loans and other type of educational resources. So I'm excited that you have tuned in today. This is Victoria Boyd and my co-host Heidi Anderson saying thank you for joining us today. See you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Philantrepreneur Radio Show, hosted by Dr. Victoria Boyd. Get involved. Follow us on Facebook and other social media outlets. If you wish to share comments or suggestions or appear as a guest on our show, visit www.thephilantrepreneur.com. Contact Victoria Boyd. Email her at theboyd@thephilantrepreneur.com. The Philantrepreneur Radio Show is a production of and sponsored by the Philantrepreneur Foundation, a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.